For someone who's travelling in first class tomorrow, you would have thought I'd have a really good sleep. Unfortunately for me, the weather, while picturesque in Oslo, is also causing me a lot of stressful night's sleep. Oh my god, it's so cold outside. A quick check online reveals that it's about minus 4.6 degrees Celsius, or 40 in Fahrenheit. So I'm right to be concerned because when I booked the flight I had a nice cushioned connection in Zurich, and then Swiss retimed the flight, resulting in a reschedule clash that just didn't work. The only option without travelling on a different day, something which I couldn't possibly do because I'd already booked my other flights and hotels, meant leaving this morning at 6:45. With 2 flights with very tight connections of less than an hour. And every day this week, all the flights from Oslo have had an average delay of about 50 minutes. I have to say, I would have been absolutely gutted if I'd missed this flight because the rebooking would have probably been with Lufthansa, and that is a brilliant product on the Boeing 747-800, but I've already been on it and already reviewed it. So far, things are going to plan, and my heartbeat is pretty steady with my fast-track boarding pass in hand. So it's off to the SAS Lounge, which was previously a member of Star Alliance, but I'm still able to use apparently using my Brussels Airlines flight. I think my headphones are dead. And that's a bad sign, because apparently bad things come in threes, although the roots of this superstition are hard to trace. That was a really pleasant experience off to flight number 1. Sierra November 2288 departs Oslo at 6:45, taking 2 hours and 10 minutes over to, Brussels unsurprisingly. But as I'm walking to the gate, there are constant reminders at the window of exactly how cold it is. And as I'm heading to Asia, I did not bring a coat, so let's hope we're not being diverted to somewhere with a bus gate. I'm going to be completely honest here. I really do like the livery of Brussels Airlines. It's pretty cute, especially on this little Airbus A319. Otherwise, there's not much that's inspiring. It's your typical European business class with the same seats as economy, with the middle one blocked out. And with a 20-minute delay, my heartbeat is slightly rising, but I was confident until the captain came on and told us Brussels Airport is now closed due to the weather, and we'll get an update in 60 minutes. Having now made peace with my fate and the likelihood of being rebooked via Frankfurt, we suddenly started pushing back, and I was hopeful that with the weather this bad, my connection in Brussels would also be delayed as well. I will just mention that the breakfast was tasty, but it pretty much consisted of a variety of bread products and the yogurt with fruit, but I didn't really care because all I'm interested in was my connection. And with the terminal in sight, unfortunately we sat there for 5 minutes only to be told that the aircraft in our stand was too delayed and we would be parking up, not great words, at a bus gate. But this part was incredible because they had a separate shuttle bus for passengers in business class. And not just that, but it was taking me and one other passenger directly to the boarding gate. This still brings a smile to my face, because within 5 minutes, I was boarding flight number 2. So that was awesome. Private transfer, straight to the gate, upstairs, onto the plane. Swiss, you've done well. At this point, I was torn between the excitement of the transfer that would make anyone feel special, and my 2-hour connection in Zurich, in the back of my mind, given that we were already 20 minutes delayed. Lima X-Ray 787 should have departed Brussels at 9:40, touching down to Zurich 1 hour and 20 minutes later. Most of the passengers are already on board, so all we're waiting for is the plane to beat the ice, no guesses why, so we can push back and take off. Even the tug below us is ready and waiting to go. With the cabin crew distracting us with delicious Swiss chocolate, the captain comes on and advises us that unfortunately there's going to be a delay waiting for the de-icing machine, and all we can do is sit and wait. Eventually one turns up, resulting in a 1 hour and 40 minute delay, and things are looking pretty bad at this point given I only had a 2-hour window. The catering is definitely a notch up from Brussels Airlines. A delicious granola top muesli looks divine, and a thick piece of salmon with tomato, cucumber, cream cheese and a cute single bellini. But the best part about it was the cabin crew had communicated with the ground staff, and I may never hear these words again. They are going to wait for you. But it gets even better in a way I could have never imagined. I didn't know it before this point, but Swiss has a fleet of personal BMW drivers, and I was literally to be ferried around the airport in a private transfer and immigration checkpoint right up to the flight. How cool is that?
Oh wow, so this is a first. This is pretty amazing.
I'm beginning to see why people speak so highly of Swiss Airlines, but at a cost of $17,000 one way, I can see how they can afford the BMWs. Not that I paid anywhere near this, and I will totally forgive you if you're watching my video and saying what a snob. Today's flight is operated by the aviation geek's wet dream, that is the Airbus A340-300. And if you plan to ride on one, you need to do it now, because Swiss is about to take delivery of the newer Airbus A350s with a totally different product on board.
So that's a first. I am the last one on the plane, but my plane was so late because of the snow. Let's have a quick look at the map, and then it's time to get on board and have a look at the product.
Lima X-Ray 188 should have departed Zurich at 13:10, taking 12 hours and 15 minutes over to Shanghai Pudong International Airport, covering a distance of 5,599 miles, touching down at 8:25 AM the next day. Swiss's Airbus A340-300 variant is a 4-class plane, with 2 bathrooms at the very front for 8 passengers in the first class section in a 1-2-1 configuration over 2 rows. 12 months ago we tried out their business class product, which is about to have a huge makeover, and even wander into their premium economy and economy class sections. So if that piques your interest, check out our review on the end of this one. Besides looking pretty lush and very Swiss, I will just add that if you're travelling with a companion, then the middle 2 seats are ideal. Also noting that the seats by the window in row 1 are slightly smaller due to the curvature of the plane.
So welcome on board. This is a phenomenal product. It could be a little bit wider, but the space is just huge. It's straight, not angled, so I'm really going to enjoy this in the sleep mode.
What made the flight all the better was the delightful Italian cabin crew, and that there was only one other passenger in first class sitting on the opposite side. But we had a lovely chat when we landed, as Swiss provide a liaison to personally escort you through the airport and through immigration.
There is so much to this seat, there's a lot to unpack. Let's have a look.
Okay, so the coat hanger is a little bit gimmicky, but it certainly is fun, although this is the older version with the Boeing 777s having a pull-out door with a tiny cupboard. There's also plenty of space because the width is 21 inches throughout, and the side table is just lush with the wood effect and the seat controls, and this rather rectangular but pretty feature lamp, which you can dim or brighten to your heart's content. And if the lamp isn't luxurious enough for you and doesn't suit your mood, and you want something a little bit more focused, then there's a reading lamp just to my right, which is particularly useful if you want to read your book. And when you're tired and bored of seeing the person next to you, not that the seat isn't private enough, you can start closing the space off, and it's fully enclosed once you deploy the other side. And if that wasn't enough, the cabin crew are really proactive, and to make the cabin feel like I'm the only one here, they've gone and raised the middle seats partition, which is just magical. Moving to the other side, which feels really far away, we will at some point discuss that incredible 32-inch in-flight entertainment screen, but just below it is a useful space for storing your shoes, and yes, the ottoman can be used to store all those lovely amenities. The side table also hides a lot more advanced seat controls, so you can set it to exactly how you want, a universal plug socket and USB-A, and the headphone jack, as well as the in-flight entertainment controller, which is useful given the distance to the screen. And lastly, the seat is so long that it has a staggering 4 full windows to look out of. First class passengers are entitled to free Wi-Fi using this voucher, and I was very impressed with how quick the response time was and how little it dropped out during the flight. Messaging on social media platforms is completely free, unless you're someone who has to share that delicious looking entree with whoever you choose back home, in which case $27 will get you 4 hours of Wi-Fi. And then for those who can't be disconnected from the world, you could get Wi-Fi for the duration of the flight for $38. Brent is probably going to wake up to an assault of photos on his WhatsApp, particularly as this combination of champagne and cashew nuts in herbs looked and tasted delicious. I've also been handed a lovely hot towel on this dainty black holder, and a pair of fluffy and extremely comfortable slippers.
These look really similar to the fans, they're really comfortable.
And they need something to match them, so there's a wonderful wrapped set of pyjamas. I've not heard of this brand of amenity kit before, and I wouldn't dare try and pronounce it, but it is the largest amenity kit I've ever had, and it's filled with plenty of goodies from Sicily of Paris, with the usual toothbrush, earplugs, fairly large toothpaste, anti-aging, which I might need soon, hand cream and lip balm. The only part I think Swiss could do better is the safety video. It gets the point across, but it just looks dated. Otherwise, it's time for the takeoff, and this one is going to be rocky. Getting more comfortable, it's time for some entertainment, and to discuss what was a very odd takeoff. For 30 seconds, the nose of the plane slightly dipped, and then raised and then dipped over and over. Perhaps someone who knows more about aerodynamics of planes can drop us a message in the comments below. I really like the headphones, they're sturdy and comfortable and they sit nicely over the ear, and I was happy to wear these for 6 out of the 12 hours on board. And I still can't believe, even at the time of editing, that I was sitting in front of an in-flight entertainment screen that was 32 inches in size and full HD. I did want to see this at the cinema because I love a good Pixar style movie, but The Wild Robot is a lovely film about a robot made for humans that ends up getting activated on an island only filled with animals, and she has to quickly learn how to interact with them, not scaring them and becoming, not through choice, the mother of a duck. Naturally the humans are the bad guys and the animals have to fend them off, but it's a tissue at the ready kind of tear in the eye kind of movie. I highly recommend you get acquainted with the in-flight entertainment control, because it's a long way to keep stretching. But once you've mastered it, the large 32-inch screen is filled with really wonderfully large clear thumbnails, and it's filled with a vast library of movies and TV programs, including one of my favourites from the Star Trek series Discovery. You can also use the screen and the control interchangeably, so you can watch a movie and track the route map on the control, which is useful to know how to plan your remaining time on board. We haven't even started the meal service and the cabin crew already bringing a beautiful selection box of different chocolates to enjoy with the movie. The view out the window between Switzerland and Austria is picturesque, so naturally I snap a few photos to look back on, but the meal service I'm about to have is also beautiful, serving this very large and sturdy tray table. And with my hand for reference, despite the size of the tray table, you can even push it closer or further away, allowing you to escape should you need the bathroom on what I've been told is a 7-course meal. Last time, because of the Christmas menu, the options were very limited in business class, and I ended up with the default meals. In first, the list is beautifully crafted, and as you're about to see, it has that "ooh, what is that?" wow kind of factor. And a drinks menu to match. Starting off the meal, we have an amuse-bouche of lemongrass puree with Japanese mushrooms, served with homemade cheesy breadsticks. Unusual flavours, but they work really well together in an unexpected way. Having eaten 4 hours ago on the previous flight, I was concerned I might have to skip dessert, so I went straight for the main course, which was testing of my word vocabulary. Cod with Una caviar, which apparently is a pure Swiss alpine caviar, miso beurre blanc sunchoke puree with roasted baby leeks and kombu oil. The wording went over my head, but every mouthful was packed full of flavour and it was a beautiful pairing, but somehow simple at the same time. As beautiful as the bread looks in the white napkin, I simply didn't have room for this, having retreated back to the starters with some of the freshest and perhaps not choice of words, the juiciest salmon I have ever been served. Comes with 2 bellinis and cream cheese. Feeling at full capacity, I decided to finish the meal service with a pot of tea. But it's a fairly long flight, so no doubt I will return to the menu in a few hours, probably for dessert. My side table is beautifully illuminated and the cabin is dressed in a subtle pink evening sky. I've now moved on to the film The Joker, which I've decided to watch in the comfort of the flat mode. What I still can't get over is just how much space there is, mostly due to the length of the seat, but the width as well. It's such a smile-provoking thing to have so much room to stretch out and turn from side to side. Just over the northwest of China, the hunger returned, and remembering I'd skipped the orange and vanilla souffle with plum compote, ice cream and pistachios, which is as good as it sounds. The cabin crew were then eager to have something to do, bless them, so they prepared 2 plates. The first with specialty Swiss meats, which were all really rich in flavour, and the second with a small buffet of different cheeses. I probably could have stopped at this point, but I was curious to see what the potato kale mousse with the crispy salsicce crumble was like, and again, such a success. Now over the middle of China, approaching Xining, I took a stroll to one of the 2 bathrooms at the front. Unsurprisingly, with only 2 passengers in first class, there is no queue, and there's not much to say about it except for the hand cream and body lotion, which is from the same brand as the amenity kit. With the sun rising and 1 hour and 20 minutes until Shanghai, the cabin crew have asked if I'd like any breakfast before landing. I've decided to have a little breakfast, starting off with this beautiful bowl of assorted fruits. Moving on to a plate of different Swiss meats and cheese. I can appreciate that this flight makes me look like a pig, but it has been quite some time since my midnight snack, and I've moved on to the movie Beetlejuice. Shh, don't say it 2 more times. Hopefully someone gets the reference. And to finish breakfast, the muesli and granola sounds light. I just need to stress that all the portions aren't very large, and they are gracefully presented so you could easily eat 7 courses or not. I will just start by saying that unfortunately while I made the flight, my luggage did not. I appreciate the snow was to blame, but I ended up without it for 6 days, because I was assured that locally it would arrive the same day or next, and it didn't. And then it wouldn't clear immigration in Beijing, and that's not reflective of the flight, but there you go.
And if you haven't noticed already, I am wearing the same clothes. But unfortunately the bag didn't make it. I'm not really surprised because the snow was horrendous in Oslo and Brussels, and I barely made the flight. They did say they would wait for me, which I thought was really nice. Made me feel a little bit special, maybe too much.
Having flown Swiss's first class product, I was left wondering why they felt the need to change it.
Yeah, I love the layout, it's so private. There's something slightly IKEA-esque about it, which I quite like. The natural wood meets the blue.
And the 32-inch in-flight entertainment screen is just jaw-droppingly good.
And the transfers. I was talking about this with Brent yesterday, just before we went to sleep, because the time zones. Being transferred in the BMW is just a mind-blowing experience. I'm so used to walking around a terminal and just getting on the flight myself, but to actually be picked up with the sign is just one of those bucket list experiences. I'm so grateful for it.
With the only thing to talk about is how fantastic the food was, and the service. I would expect this level of food from a Michelin star restaurant, and not a single dish was a disappointment. And if we've piqued your interest for flying, we have so many other wonderful adventures ahead. So thank you so much for watching and safe travels.